Yes, it was. Rise to the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Okay. Roll call. Supervisor Churko, Supervisor Carvolio, Supervisor Dolzell, Supervisor Paler for Rocky Gilner, myself, Randy Thiessen, and Bruce Knockreiner are all present. I'd entertain a motion to approve our agenda. Motion by Jay Churko, Supervisor Churko, second by Supervisor Dolzell. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. The agenda is approved. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the July 5th, 2023 committee meeting minutes? Are there any corrections to those minutes? If there are no corrections, the minutes are approved. Public participation. Is there anyone signed up for public participation? The time, okay. We'll take your participation at the time on the agenda. Is there any correspondence for the committee to consider?
I don't have any.
Okay. Unfinished business. Harley Ray and Ruth Miller rezone request from the July meeting. At the July meeting, there was an amendment to the rezone request, which was approved. For housekeeping purposes and to be able to pass this amended rezone request under the full county board for final approval, we need a motion to approve the amended rezone request as written. So I need a motion and a second. Bruce Knockreiner made the first motion. Do I have a second? Supervisor Churko, second. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. It is passed. So please sign that before we go tonight. Project status report. Was everyone able to access the sheet that corresponds to the planning and zoning projects? Are there any questions? I have one thing that I just, and it's already been changed. So you moved Jody's to Julie's name. So Julie Schnellis, it used to have Jody Helgensen on there. So perfect. All right, moving right along. Register of Deeds report. Has everyone had the ability to read the Register of Deeds report? Are there any questions for Register of Deeds? Julie Schnellis. I might have some. Hold on. You made mention that on the land information meeting that you couldn't, you didn't have audio visual, or at least audio.
Right. I had started out, you could hear Sam and then you could hear Rich talking, but you couldn't understand him. And then all of a sudden it was out completely. I couldn't hear anything.
Julie, is this the same meeting that Sam makes mention of for the land council?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So at least someone was present. Sam was there.
Well, this was the county one where it was the county employees, but I was unable to go.
From your office. Okay.
Yep.
Is anyone looking into the problem that you were having?
I don't know.
Is Rich? No, Rich isn't here. Okay.
I believe Rich was at the meeting and he was aware of the problem. So he's looking into what the issue was.
All right. And then when it comes time for the fraud sign up, it says anyone can sign up for free alerts. How does someone sign up?
There's either you can go to the website, there's a property fraud alert website, or you can call. There's an 800 number.
Okay.
And it's very simple, just putting in your name and how you want to be alerted, whether it's text message, phone call, email. Anytime a document's recorded with your name, you will be notified.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Other question, are things running smoothly in your department?
Yes.
Okay, is there anything you'd like addressed by the committee?
Not at this moment, no.
Okay, thank you. Keep us posted.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the department head report. This is for Dustin. This item includes the planning and zoning division updates that used to be down at the bottom, such as the various citations that have been given, department updates, etc. So, Dustin?
Yep, so there's not a lot of, I guess not a lot of updates since last month. We're in our busy season. We've been very busy this year. I've talked to other counties and, you know, they have been down on, a lot of other counties are down on permit numbers and we're still at least close or in some areas ahead. We did issue one citation in the last month, and that was for a property that has 9 campers were brought in. I believe it was over the winter or early spring, I guess it was. And they were intending to apply for a conditional use for, well, rezone and a conditional use for a campground. We did not receive their application and they are not removing the units. So that's why we issued the
Do you
citation.
have your microphone on?
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
I just
Can
might be
can
talking.
everybody hear Dustin? No. Okay. So nine campers.
Yes,
And they are in the process of removing them or,
not yet. That's why we wrote the citation.
okay,
I don't know if this is coming through or.
it doesn't sound like it. So. Right. Okay, do you want to try it again?
Is that any better?
No.
We can hear Dusty outside of the meeting perfectly fine.
And we can hear you, Rich. Okay, I don't know how to fix that. Do you want to move to a different area and see if that one does a better job?
Is that any? No.
No, no. Okay, all right, I guess.
Well, it must be working,
But they're working outside.
If anyone needs anything repeated, just kind of wave your hand and we'll give it the best shot we can. Okay, anything else?
Nope, that's what I have.
All right, thank you. Surveyor's report. Has everyone had the opportunity to read Jerry Smart's surveying report? Are there any questions? All right, if you have questions later on, reach out to Dustin and then Dustin can also get a hold of Jerry for question and answers and then email to the committee members. Land information, I don't know if Sam is on. It does not look like it. Has everyone read the land information report? Are there any questions? All right, moving on. Rural address change request. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the rural address change request paperwork provided by the treasurer's office? Are there any questions? Go ahead, Jeannie.
Oh, I just wanted to check with everybody. We try to give as much information ahead of time so you can see with the mapping and is this working for you so you know ahead of time?
It worked for me. Did it work for everybody else to make them aware? Seeing that there's no questions, if no one would object, I would entertain a motion to handle all the addresses as listed in one motion. Supervisor Carvolio and Supervisor Chirko. So all those in favor say aye. Oh, I'm sorry. We should probably have the opportunity to discuss. So is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The changes are approved. Thank you. Moving on to the public hearings. Travel to Belong LLC. Dustin.
The first application is for Travel to Belong LLC. This is the rezone request for a portion of a parcel, 5 acres, from A3 Secondary Ag District to Planned Residential Community District on property located in the southeast quarter being lot 1, CSM 6776, section 22, town 14 north, range 6 east, parcel 8-639-10 in the town of Del Prairie. The address is 3977. As you can see, it is for a portion of a parcel, calling it the front 5 acres closer to the road. I did receive some correspondence. Let's go in order here. We have our home at 931 Glen Lane since September 2000 and wish to state our objections to all 3 of the above requests to Travel Belong LLC. We understand that the town of Del Prairie has heard these requests and denied them. As part of the Witches Gulch Wilderness Estates, our home is part of a very nice single-family home subdivision and have not heard a good reason for the county to, at this time, change or allow a more lenient or business-type use for land being developed in close proximity to what has been established in the immediate area, which is predominantly single-family homes. It seems to us that Travel to Belong LLC, the requesters, already have many different things they can do on these parcels that fall within what is allowed by its current zoning, which was recently put in place. At this time, we feel there is not sufficient benefit that the changes would provide the town, the county, or the adjacent landowners, and would quite possibly negatively affect us and other adjacent landowners. Therefore, we believe that all these requests be denied by the committee. Thank you for your work, and that's from Jerry and Linda Wolfram. The next one is, we are unable to attend the public hearing. We respectfully object to rezoning the now secondary A3 secondary agricultural district to planned residential community district. Our property was purchased by my brother-in-law back in the 50s, sold to my father in the 70s, and purchased by my wife and me in 2001. At no time had we ever envisioned the neighboring property would become home to a resort and family farm business. We are concerned about increased safety issues, relocation of wildlife, pollution, noise, and increased traffic on an already dangerous part of 9th Ave. Our private, quiet, clean, and tranquil getaway will cease to exist. Please, no resorts in our neighborhood. And that is from Donovan and Mary Muchel at 3963 9th Ave. I did also receive the town participation form from the town of Del Prairie. They did deny the request. They felt it does not fit with the town land use plan in rural residential area. Concerns on traffic and driveway onto 9th. And that was signed by the town board on at their July 11th meeting. That's all the correspondence I have, and the applicant is here if you have questions for her.
So I might butcher the name. Is it Farella Nira?
Township did deny it. We're not moving forward with the resort because the township was not welcoming of it. With the other part, which is the second part, the family farm using world, they were pretty excited about it. So we decided to significantly lower our project. Let's be our single family home with the ag use of the property.
Thank you. Dustin, when it comes to this paperwork then?
My suggestion would be to take action on the application.
Okay.
Because we're already here and have the public hearing, I would, instead of just withdrawing it, I would ask that you take action.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do the committee members have any questions for the applicant? We're going to go the whole gamut. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak against this request? Sir, could you say your name and your address?
919 Glen Lane, which is called subdivision there. And 9th Avenue is a accident waiting to happen. And every time we add another driveway, every time it's always in those hills there. And we've got campers pulling in all over. You know, from the Dells to the left, there's probably 4 campers have been added in the last 5 to 6 years as it is. And now we're gonna add alpaca farm right in the hill section of that 9th Avenue. I just don't think that traffic starts on that at 5 o'clock in the morning. You start hearing traffic going down. And if we did I saw a study where 9th Avenue ranked right up there with Highway B as far as the amount of traffic going into the Dell. And I just don't feel that adding more driveways into that area would be safe.
Thank you. Just to verify, it was Francis Granz? Granz. Okay, thank you. And you were at 919 Glen Lane. Thank you. Thank you for your input. It is up to the committee where we go from here, knowing that they're not interested, they're not proceeding. I'll leave it in the committee's hands for a motion. Supervisor Paylor says move to deny. Supervisor Carvalho seconds. Open for discussion? Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carried. The petition's been denied for the rezone. So now it gets a little interesting because this next conditional use is applied to the rezone.
Correct. Because the rezone was denied, you can't, the applicant.
We're not
can't
listening
apply
to
for
the
conditional use.
Okay.
So it's not even allowed to be applied for now, so.
So we're just gonna, okay. So we'll move on to the final conditional use, which is for the farm family business to raise alpaca.
Yeah, so,
I need to.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Go ahead. Dustin's going to read it.
The next application is for Travel to Belong LLC. It's a conditional use request under section 40532C1 of the Adams County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance for the use of a farm family business on property located in the southeast quarter being lot 1, CSM 6776, section 22, town 14 north, range 6 east, parcel 8-639-10, town of Del Prairie. The address is 3977. The same letter from the Wolframs is included in this packet as well. And the town correspondence form or participation form. The town of Del Prairie does not object to this request. They felt it will fit with the land use plan and the neighborhood, and that was at their July 11th meeting. And that is all the correspondence I have.
Hold on. Okay, so does the applicant wish to talk about what you're wanting to do?
So here's Sunstone Ag right now. We can bring alpacas tomorrow, but you know, anybody that has livestock, any type of livestock, is gonna be able to breed and sell. It just so happens that you guys knit or whatever, but alpacas create really fine fiber, so we want to be able to sell that fiber. Have a farm market that will sell alpaca products, and also welcome people to come in and take a look at our animals and offer a farm tour, just like on the paperwork fences. And that's where the family fit is there, knowing that the ag comes in.
Do the committee members have any questions? Thank you. Supervisor Paylor?
I did not see on the plan where there was a location for the store, the market. That was not marked out on there. And the question would be, how many square feet is that market? And are you going to sell only your own products, or is it actually going to be a retail store?
There is going to have to be retail because we have a 10-acre parcel, so we can't produce everything on site. So some items will need to come in from other farms to retail. the finished product. So there is going to be retail items being sold in the front. The farm store initially was going to be in our barn. It is going to be now right outside the barn. It's probably going to be the size of a 3-car garage, just because we need storage and normal retail operation. And that's what we're planning for. In the plan itself, we did it through general engineering. You can see what the setbacks are. And we're planning on keeping those setbacks still very similar, but there is going to be a secondary building that's going to be there. Otherwise, the main reason is, after discussing with Dusty, is if we put a store inside our barn, we have to make our entire barn commercial to make commercial code. And we'd rather not do that because it can cost animals. So you don't want to do the US commercial code that smaller for retail items.
Supervisor Paler, thank you.
So if this is actually a retail store, wouldn't it require business zoning?
That would be a question we have. Dustin?
Yeah, so everything that's getting produced on the farm is getting sold in there. And everything getting sold in the store are ag products that are related. They are coming from other farms. Considering it's a family farm or a farm family business. After other conversations we've had, it doesn't seem that it's out of line with what a farm family business would allow.
So if I may ask a question, I know that we've heard in the past where someone wants to farm family business, as soon as there are customers allowed in said building, now it falls under a commercial building code.
Correct, which is what she was mentioning about.
But not necessarily under a B1 business zoning.
Correct. Yeah, those are two unrelated items. Well, related, but they don't have to match. You can have something zoned commercial with, say, a house on there that wouldn't get built to commercial code. It's not permitted, but that's an example. Or vice versa, if you put in a commercial building on an ag property, it doesn't matter what the zoning is as far as how the building code applies.
So I have another question for you. Will you be employing people to work at your store?
Up to 4 people outside of your immediate family.
Okay, and you're aware of that. So, okay. I had a couple other questions, but does anyone else have any questions from the committee?
I did have one thing to add. The applicant was there's actually a 4th application that's part of this overall packet. And that was to request to have 20 alpaca instead of the allowable 10, 1 animal unit per acre. The Board of Adjustment this morning did deny that request, so she will be the property is limited to 10 animal units. So the total number that she was requesting as part of this will end up is lower.
Okay, because that was one of my questions. Because your A3, which is 10 acres, 10 to 15 is what you had on your proposal with an expansion of a herd in mind. And so that's good to know. Are they under farmland preservation or not? I could not figure that out.
Under A3, you cannot be.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Very good. Okay. That is all the questions that I had. Did anyone else have any more? All right. Moving right along. Is there any one present that wishes to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak against this request? Ma'am, please state your name and your address.
I'm just wondering, are they planning on breeding any of these alpacas? Because if they're limited to 10 and that's what they've got, if they breed, then they have 1, 2, 3, or however many get pregnant. then would that put them over and would they have to get rid of some of those animals to keep it at 10?
Please do so. Thank you.
The dairy farm. So I would be limited to that. So I would have to one manage my herd and two manage school friends. So that's basically what we have. As part of ranching, part of farming to manage the herd. So we would have to either not breed and have all females, or we're gonna have to have three females. Actually, when we breed the babies are from 2 to 1. So we could breed all 6 of them, so we could get 10. But it would mean that we were gonna have to manage, just like as any size of herd to manage it. If there's something on. I hope that.
Did that answer everyone? I know that I should have asked you to put a microphone by you. She had mentioned that adult animals would count as 10, but if there were less than 10 adult animals, that 2 babies would count for 1. So I don't know if that was clear to everybody in terms of herd size. So. Is there a time frame on that, Dustin? Yeah.
Yeah, so the ordinance does not define age. The standard that I've always seen is 6 months. But it's, the way it reads is for young stock, divide the type of animal by 2.
I guess I'm not familiar with alpaca. What is the weaning? One year. 1 year is what she's looking for. Thank you.
And it doesn't define it. Probably, if I had to guess why the ordinance was written the way it was, is for that reason.
Sure.
You know, different animals have different
requirements.
Yep.
Sir?
Curious how noisy they are. I heard people complain about folks lunchtime. They all rattle the bar, this and that. How close are you?
So we have, our lot is 300. Alpaca, we don't plan on having males because we have a limited herd number. Even if we would have gotten food for the 20, we don't plan on having males. But alpaca, we also sell they're odorless, and more this meeting is being recorded and noise like you can't really tell them there.
Pardon? Peter Youngbaugh, and he's from Preston. Peter, what was your address? 16, 14, 10. I wanted to ask the applicant also, are you prepared to fence? Okay.
They don't challenge fences, we put ribbon and they don't challenge it, but yes, we have to get good. In the plan, you can see we're gonna have six pastures, 3 birds, but I want to don't do that. Now, yes.
Okay, thank you. And one more? Could you avail yourself to a microphone? Kim, do you have a microphone or? I'm so sorry. And we still might not be able to hear you, so.
Alpacas are guard animals. So we have a lot of coyotes out in our area. Almost every night in the summertime, they're running. And alpacas will sound off on coyotes and they scream. So it's not that they just hum. I know they do hum, but they do scream. So when the coyotes get going, they're gonna be screaming. Well, how are you gonna take care of a coyote? You gotta be out there shooting them all the time. Or trapping them and relocating them. I'm not going out to trap coyotes. They have just as much right to run as any other animal out there. I'm just saying that alpacas are guard animals, and that's how they protect their area, is by screaming when they hear a predator in the area. So that is a consideration, because where their land is, we have our subdivision. Our land is right across. There's a thin 10-acre strip that's long. Theirs is directly on the other side of that. Jerry Wolfram's is just down from us. So we are all going to be impacted if they start screaming at night.
Thank you. Can the applicant speak to that? I am not familiar with alpacas. Can you go to the mic again? I'm sorry.
They can scream. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know, play a YouTube video. The screaming you hear a lot more from the males, especially when fighting. We're not gonna have males. Can they scream? Yes. Does that happen often? No. You put the animals away in the barn every night because they actually can get eaten by coyotes. Alpacas will defend themselves, but most people put a llama with an alpaca because a llama is almost 150 pounds heavier, and the llama is the protective animal. Will they protect their young? Again, yes, but we're putting them in the barn overnight or protecting our animals because they're livestock.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there other questions from the committee members?
I don't know if there was how good the map was in the application. I didn't look. If we want to share my screen, I can show you where it is in relation to the neighbors. Can you?
You should be able to.
Not letting me click that.
That was on the map, wasn't it, Dustin? So Lyanna could bring that up, couldn't she?
Was it on there?
I thought it was. Maybe I was looking at something else.
Oh, that might just be easier because this isn't letting me do what I want to do. Oh, okay. So there is the one map, the brown area that's outlined in the black. It's towards the yellow above that is the subdivision that they're referring to. And I believe that's a 10-acre parcel, and there must be a 20-acre parcel in between. So it's about 300 from the applicant's north property line to the south property line of the subdivision, or the south line of the subdivision. It's about 330 feet through across that parcel.
And ag is below too. So ag above, ag below.
Everything in brown is zoned A3. That light tan to the left is A115. And the yellow and pink are residential districts.
And the greenish?
That's actually yellow, I think.
Is it? Okay.
It's a different shade of yellow.
Okay.
The subdivision the subdivision is residential. The other yellow or green is residential large lot. So same, just a 2-acre minimum requirement.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Have we heard from everyone from the public? Okay. So it is now up to the committee. What does the committee wish to do? Yes, Supervisor Carvalho. Supervisor Carvillo to approve, second by Supervisor Churko. The floor is open for discussion. Do we have any conditions that we should be putting, right? Can we put any conditions on here?
They do have to follow the plan as presented. I guess I'm not really thinking of anything beyond that.
Okay, the only reason why I'm asking is because I did not see where you're not going to use bells. I didn't actually see, I saw delineations of paddocks, but that doesn't necessarily mean fencing. Is it barbed, wire? Yep.
I don't, hog, not hog fencing.
Sheep,
Yeah.
sheep goat fencing or something?
Once we get to the front, we're gonna put nicer fence.
Okay.
And probably electric.
And did it mention nightly containment? Because I don't think I read that either.
It's the, it should be a barn, maybe, I don't have a big to see, but there is a 100-foot setback of the animals, and that's where the barn sits.
Okay.
And you'll see gates where we can close. When you see it really, because it's really meant to be printed in the 30 by 24, you can see where the gates are going to be that lead to the in and out of pastures. Thank you.
Oops, right there. So that's the rear, the back 5 acres, correct? All right. Supervisor Paler?
Is there a residence on this property?
Yes.
Is somebody going to be living there that will be able to take care of those animals in case something happens at night?
Me and my family.
Are there any other points of discussion from the committee members? Seeing none, let's go for a roll call vote.
Chafee,
Yes.
Churko.
Yes.
Carvillo.
Yes.
Dozel,
Yes.
Beeson,
Yes.
Knockrainer,
Yes.
Taylor.
All right, unanimously, your conditional use was approved. It does not have to go any further, it does not have to go in front of full county board, so you're good to go. You bet. All right, financial report. The financials were attached. Are there any questions for Dustin? Seeing none, we'll go on to the permit report. That was also attached. Are there any questions for Dustin on the permit report? I like the format. Oh,
Yeah, I think the format is very nice or makes it easier to follow along. The downside, just to make sure the numbers match that last report, I think I mentioned this last month, it is a month behind. So these numbers are current. The revenue numbers are current through end of June. The permit numbers are current through the end of July. But as you can see, we're a shade behind in building permit revenue. Zoning wise, we're ahead. Sanitary is right, almost on track. And there's other things included in there, but overall we are ahead of last year, which been saying it for 3 years really surprises me. But
are there any questions for Dustin in regards to the permit report? All right. Thank you, Dustin. Next, is this where the 19th we have set the next meeting date? So I have some public participation. Mark Beta.
I'd just like to thank
Thank you. Linda Caldwell.
The same thing, thank you for having a meeting at 6 p.m. So
Thank you. Robert Caldwell. Thank you. And then Patty.
Yes, Patty Youngblood, also appreciate the 6 o'clock meeting. It makes it so much easier to do things during the day and then come here.
Thank you. So I have down for the next meeting date, September 6th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Does that fit with everybody? I'm seeing nods. Before we leave, if we could get signatures on Harley Ray and Ruth Miller's rezone. Okay, they're going around. So seeing that there is no other business, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Very good.
They do okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.